Hi, I'm Rabbi Weiss. Welcome to Cooking with Rav Yaakov. Today we're going to be making Ilana's famous Hamantashin. So the first thing we do is that we get our flour. We need 2.5 cups of flour. That's 1 cup. And 1 more cup. And I'm going to put it in a 2 1/4, and then we'll see if we need the extra quarter a little bit later. So we have our flour. We have 2/3 of a cup of sugar. Mix it on in there. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. That's all of our dry ingredients. So we're going to mix them all together and combine them so it's nice and evenly combined. Next, we're going to take our wet ingredients, such as our 1/2 cup of oil. Pour it on in there. We need a tablespoon of vanilla. Gives a great flavor. One more dash. 2 eggs. Look around, see no blood spots. Make sure there aren't any shells in here. All clear. That's 1 egg. Another egg. No blood spot in here, so that means I can put it in. There's 1 little piece of shell, so I'm going to pull it out. And then drop my egg into the mixture. So I have my oil, I have my vanilla, I have my eggs, and they're in the mix now. So now I have to combine them. So I'm going to mix them all together and get my batter started. It starts off thin, and then as you mix it, it gets thicker and thicker. So Hamantashin are a lot of fun because you can fill them with whatever you want. Some people like to fill them with jelly. Some people like to put chocolate in the middle. Some people like to put peanut butter. Some people put poppy seeds. Everyone has their own favorite recipes that they fill their Hamantashin with. Usually I make Hamantashin around Purim time, but I made an exception because we're learning about the different holidays, and one of the holidays that has a specific cookie is Purim. So I started combining it, and it's getting there, but sometimes it helps to just actually use your hands and mix and mush that dough together to make it form and to be ready for the cookies. Because otherwise it can be a little bit flaky, and you want it to be able to stay close together as you form your Hamantashin. So I'm using my hands to squish it, to mush it. Sometimes it would be called kneading it if it was bread, or perhaps even with cookies it could be kneading it. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it looks to me that I might not need the rest of that flour, but we'll see as I knead it a little bit more and see how it combines. Because sometimes it ends up being a little too wet, or sometimes it ends up being a little bit too dry. So you can always add more flour if you need to later on, but it's very hard to take away the flour if there's too much flour in your mixture. So I'm finishing kneading it. It's coming together pretty well. Just need to mix it a little bit more. If you have a mixer at home, you can use a stand mixer or a machine to mix it. And if not, you can do it by hand too. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm mixing it, I'm kneading it together as it starts to come together more and more. See, it's a little bit flaky, but it's still combining to make a nice dough. So I'll take a little bit more. Take like half or a quarter of your dough, and I'm going to put it on a surface in front of me. I'm going to take out my super duper large rolling pin, and I'm going to roll it to make Hamantashin. If you don't have a rolling pin, that's okay. You could just take a little ball of dough, make it into a circle, and then you can flatten it with your hand. There's my nice little round ball. It's ready for making Hamantashin, and here's my dough that's over here. So sometimes when you have your dough, depending on what you're going to cut it out with, you can use a cookie cutter. Sometimes you can use a top of a container. Could use something like this, top of a container. Or if you have a specific size in mind, you can use a cookie cutter. So I have over here just this one right here that I made into the nice shape of a circle. And I like to use chocolate chips. So I'm going to take a few chocolate chips. I'll put them in the middle. So you want it to be right in the middle so that when you fold it, it stays there. So I'm folding it. One fold, two folds, and my third fold. I fold it right in. I do a little more pushes to make sure it makes a nice triangle of my Hamantashin. I put it on my parchment paper. Now I'm going to show you a different one. I'll grab my cookie cutter. Now I'm going to cut some circles with my cookie cutter. You want to make them as close together as you can so that you get the full use of your flat dough. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I take just a little bit of my jelly and I put it right in the middle. Not too much, because the thing about jelly is that when you put it in the oven and bake it, it starts to bubble and spread. So I do my folds, 1, 2, 3, and I lift it up, and I put it on my pan. My folds, 1, 2, 3, I lift up my cookie and I put it on the pan. And I do 1, 2, 3. I do a little pokes and touches at the corners to make sure they stay closed. And I have some chocolate chips left, so I'm going to make, with the last one, I'll make it a chocolate chip one. I put my chocolate chips in the middle. I do my folds, a 1, a 2, and then a 3. I fold them up, and I put them on my pan, and they are ready to go into the oven at 350 degrees. It takes about 15 minutes or so, depending on how, if you like them lighter or darker. So sometimes it might take 20, sometimes it might take 10 or 12. It's your choice, and I hope you enjoy your Hamantashin whenever you make them.